Hello everyone. Just to give you an idea of some of the things that I've been doing over the past few weeks. I've not posted a video because I've been working in various schools across the area. Locally, I've been doing some work at Grassington with the children from Grassington and Burnsall, Craco and Kettlewell, the Upper Wharfdale Federation of Schools. I've been doing some work down in Freshfield, in Kildwick, Lothersdale. I've been on a visit to Bradley and Gargrave, and generally just sharing in and around the area, particularly since the May half term. Things are looking up and people are encouraged, particularly in the school context, to welcome me and the work that I do back in. And I'm enormously grateful to people for continuing with the support, because I have to admit the past 16 months has been a bit of a struggle, particularly in terms of getting information out to various people and also coming up with different models and ways of sharing that work. I have tried to keep up every 2 weeks by posting assemblies and a collective worship for schools. This has been picked up at a secondary level and also one or two occasions at in a primary context. And what's been really funny is the number of parents who I see around the streets who say, "I saw you on the telly." And what I think they mean is that when they were at home, they could catch some of my short videos on screen as they watch with the children. It's a different way of working. It's a challenging way of working. And for me personally, I'm at my best when I can put many of my creative ideas into practice on a face-to-face context. The technology is brilliant and the wonders of modern technology are on occasions beyond me. But I'll give you a glimpse now of some of the things that I've been doing. I've now come outside, and a number of the schools have got reflective areas and areas where children go, beautifully decked, and plants and trees, and the children can go and sit, particularly on a bench, just to think a little while or just to have that quiet space with their friends. And out at Grassington and down at Freshfield, I did some work outside with a number of different classes, and we were looking at the Old Testament character of Joseph. He was the youngest son of Jacob, and the Bible describes him as Jacob's favourite son, and as a result of which he bought him had him made a beautiful coloured coat. And there's been musicals and songs over the years, but the story of Joseph is about a man who had dreams. And back last year when the pandemic first started, I remember I posted, in fact it was my first post on Easter Sunday, and I talked about Joseph and we blew some bubbles, and I gave the children some bubbles and I got the children to blow the bubbles. And we were thinking about the end of term and how at the end of term the children who are in year 6 was their last year of primary school before moving up to a secondary level will have hopes and will have dreams. And I was talking to them about the story of Joseph and how he had dreams, and he shared those dreams with his brothers, and his brothers didn't like him for it. And it almost appeared as if, like when a bubble bursts, his dreams were shattered. And it wasn't until much later on in his life that those dreams found fruition. His hopes and his dreams come true. And that doesn't always happen. Sometimes our hopes are dashed, our dreams are dashed. But in Joseph's case, his dreams came true. This is just one example of some of the things that I've been doing in school. Joseph and Joseph's dreams. In another example of working outside with some children's groups, particularly in smaller groups, is when we've taken opportunity just to be outside in the open air with the birds, with everything that's going on, traffic perhaps going by, and just focusing in upon some of the Psalms. The biblical book of Psalms, there's 150 of them, and they take a look at very often the emotional journeys of many of the characters. And over the years, I've built up a kind of memory bank of the Psalms, and I begin by taking the book of Psalms, and I'll start off get the biggest Bible you can so you can see it, and then you start off by introducing and reading the Psalm, and then close the book and then carry on. Let me give you an example of something I did a couple of weeks ago down at Lothersdale. Psalm 139. O Lord, you have searched me and you know me. You know when I sit, you know when I stand. You are familiar with everything I do. There are words on my tongue and in my head jangling around, but before they come out, you know, O God, what I'm about to say. You are the God who is ahead of me. You are the God who is behind me. You are the God who is in every place. Wow, such knowledge is too wonderful for me. But what about those occasions when I say, well, leave me alone, I want to be on my own? You are still there. So I put on my boots and I climb to the highest hill, and you are there. I take a shovel and I dig to the deepest depths, and you are there. I jump in a boat and I sail to the farther side of the sea, and even there your right hand will guide me. Wow, such knowledge is too wonderful for me. I thank you, says the psalmist, that I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Search me, he asks. Try me, O God. And the psalmist continues in this way of opening himself up to God. And I try to get some of the children to think about that, and if they could speak to God right in that moment, what would they say? What would they ask him? How would they encourage themselves? David, another one of the psalmists, says, you are my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? He says in another instance, the Lord is my shepherd. And all of these things are part of the journey, the story, and the experience of each of our lives. And I've been trying to get the children to say and to do and to share some of their thoughts and feelings at this time. Something else I've been trying to get the children and young people to do is to have some kind of focus, and that's possibly best illustrated when you're driving along, because you have to be focused on what's ahead of you. You've got signposts, you've got pedestrians, you've got speed limits, you've got cars coming out of the side, people overtaking, and all of these things can be somewhat of a distraction. And so I've been trying to get the children, young people, and one or two staff teams focused upon those things that are important to them in their lives. I asked them if you could think of 3 things for a moment that are really important to you. And they were coming up with all different kinds of ideas, how family was important to them, friendships were important to them. And I was trying to get them to focus upon those things, to allow themselves the opportunity to discover that if they focused on the things, particularly those things that they do well, then those things can be improved. And in other things perhaps they struggle with and a bit of a challenge, keep going with them, and then you become better. Something I found quite difficult when I was at college was that every morning and every evening we used to gather in the chapel to do some Bible reading and some prayer. And every day of the week it became a little bit of a chore, getting up, going down, getting up, going down. And after a while you got into a pattern of doing it. And sometime later, and even now, years after I've left college, I try as best as I can to get some element of prayer in the morning and in the evening, and throughout the day and time, some focus of prayer and some Bible reading. And I've been getting the children, young people, to focus on those things that are important to them, concentrate upon them, improve them, become better at them. Without prayer, without Bible reading, we're listening out to the message and guidance and Spirit of God who leads us. These are just some of the things I've been doing over the past few weeks with the children, young people and staff teams across the local area. Welcome back. That just offers a snapshot of some of the things that I've been doing, but added to that, looking likely from September onwards, I'll be back in schools once again, face to face. And also I've got a number of bookings as staff teams come together. I did something that they call CPD training with various staff groups. And I'm looking into developing the area of well-being and work-life balance and things like that. I've been looking at the life of some Old Testament characters, notably Elijah, of Joseph, of David, and the story of Jonah, so that we can use some of them moving forward as we go from September right through to the Christmas term. But I wanted at this point just to say an enormous thank you to you for your prayers, for your support, for your encouraging emails, for your financial contributions, all of which has helped keep the show on the road and just keep my sort of enthusiasm up during these very difficult times. So thank you very much, and keep watching out for videos which will be coming along your way. Thank you very much indeed.